to, I just want to, I just want to say, I have a really tragic example to add to the examples that Wayne gave, and this is the earthquake in Turkey and Syria. And I read, I forget if it was in Turkey or in Syria, but it was a place that there was not a lot of help. And there was a girl around 12 years old who the building had collapsed on her and her younger sister. And the man who was interviewed about this, he saw this. I mean, he saw the after effects. You know, he was helping looking for survivors. And this girl was a young girl under all this rubble. And she said, my sister's here too. I don't hear her. You know, please stay with me. I'm afraid. I don't want to be alone. And he didn't stay with her, because if he stayed with her, he knew she would die. He would just stay there and she would eventually die, and he wanted to get help. But the person who was reporting this has no idea whether he actually was able to find the help. So, you know, your heart breaks hearing about that. And although it's very dramatic, that's not so different from many situations in our life where you want to do something and the thing to do is really not clear. And sometimes the thing to do is something that you know will cause distress in the moment. So life is very complicated and it's not easy, which always brings me back to why we practice. So we practice so that we can move ahead, so that our minds are clear enough that we can move ahead and do the best we can, knowing we're doing the best we can, not being trapped by our ideas about who we are, which is usually what causes the problem. So thank you very much, Jane, for your talk. And now I will ask for questions. You had a question?
Yes. So
tell us your name since you're new.
I'm Josh.
Okay, hi, Josh.
Nice to meet you. So I was thinking about those examples, and is it more or less acknowledging your capability and your strengths or weaknesses, and then assessing the situation and doing something about it because you are capable of doing it, and or taking responsibility in that moment to do something? So if I'm somewhat athletic and I see someone drowning in the ocean, of course I'm going to be apprehensive to some degree, where I'm like, can I get there and back safely, or do I just go? So is it a combination of instinctual and acknowledging your capability and responsibility, or do you just do whatever you can in that moment to help someone in any capacity?
So instinct and reason, making that distinction is a problem. Mm-hmm. So Zen means attain your true self. Wake up. So when you wake up, it's not instinct, it's not reason. Reason is a tool. Instinct is a tool. So in the moment, what presents itself? And when we stop and start our little calculator going, click, 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 the moment is already gone. Mm-hmm. But it's not about being instinctual. It's about deep knowledge of who we truly are. And it's not frontal lobe knowledge. It's knowledge that's more fundamental than speech, more fundamental than thinking. That's why we practice, to attain that true self that's before speech, before thinking. And then your question dissolves. Okay? It's like, you know, the great 20th century philosopher Wittgenstein, early 20th century, and he would talk about the purpose of philosophy is to let the fly out of the fly bottle. You know, you have a fly trap, it's a big bottle, and they have like something flies like, and the fly flies in, but it's a very complicated thing, you know, it has twists and turns, then the fly can't figure out how to get out. And so the purpose of Zen, or the direction of Zen, is helping us get out of these little fly bottles that we're all trapped in. These ideas of this and that, big and little. thinking, not thinking. You know? It's helping us cut through that so we don't get trapped by that. And then attain your true self and help this world is the second part of that. So yeah, your question dissolves, which is fine. It's a good question. And now it's just dissolved, so you don't have to worry about that. Just when you practice, okay? What practice are you doing?
Just, I guess, just generic meditation and mindfulness, trying to be
Okay.
more present and acknowledge where I'm at and when I'm at.
Okay, so I'll give you 2 Zen practices. I'll give everyone 2 Zen practices. There's a third, but it needs some experience, and that's mantra, because you can't do mantra unless the mantras, you're familiar with the mantras. It doesn't mean anything. So the 2 practices I'll give you, the first one is very simple. It's counting your breaths. So on the first out breath, you go 1. On the second out breath, you go 2. You go all the way up to 10, and then you start again at 1. And your mind will wander, but you have this very simple, one-pointed thing that you can bring your mind back to. It has no cognition. Everybody learned how to count to 10 when they were like 4 or 5, maybe 6 years old. You know, everyone knows how to count to 10. And so first you go 1, the next out breath 2, then after a while you go 9, then you go 10, then you go 1. You keep doing that, and you bring your attention back to that. Just keep bringing your attention back to that. When your mind wanders, just bring it back. Those thoughts can float in the background. All those ideas, they can float in the background, but you're not trying to get rid of them. You just have this very simple, non-cognitive thing to bring your mind back to. And that was my first practice, and I did it for a very, very many, many years. The second practice, some people really, it really grabs them, and other people it encourages their thinking mind. So if this encourages your thinking mind, don't do it. And that is on the in-breath, what am I? And the out-breath very strongly, don't know. My teacher had this great Korean accent, Zen Master Bon Hae, and would say, don't know! So in the in-breath, what am I? And the out-breath, don't know. Really strong, don't know. But a lot of people, when they do that, I know when I first tried it, I would think, what am I? Okay, let's see, I'm this tall, and I weigh this much, and this is my job, and this is how much education I've had. So it's like I got stuck in that kind of thing. Or sometimes people go, I am a child of God, I am universal energy, whatever. These ideas come up, and we can't cut through those ideas. So if you find that doing that, these ideas come up, just don't do it. Just go back to counting your breaths. And so you pick one practice, and you do this practice for a really long time, like weeks, months, years. And then if this practice no longer fits, and you'll know if it no longer fits, if it really doesn't fit anymore, just like clothing, if it doesn't fit anymore, then you try another practice. But these Zen practices, they're completely non-cognition. It's not even like labeling. You don't even label, hot, cold, and nothing. There's no cognition in these practices. And then fast mantra, for those who are comfortable with mantra, fast mantra like Kwanseum Bosal, very, very fast. Kwanseum Bosal, Kwanseum Bosal. That's the Bodhisattva of compassion. Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, or Kwanseum Bosal. And then my teacher said that this is like the spin cycle of a clothes dryer. I guess clothes dryers go like this. It's like spin cycle of a washing machine. Spin cycle of a washing machine. It goes so fast that then all the water just sort of is forced out. So you're going, and then it's like you can't think because you're doing this strong Kwanseum Bosal, and then all this thinking stuff just kind of disappears. It'll come back with Kwanseum Bosal, like that. So if you're comfortable with mantra, you can try that. And there are other practices too, but those are three. There's a great question, just simply, what am I? Or what is this? That's another form of Zen practice. But Zen practice always has this, there's no cognition, and it's pointing to something that is not this. Even what am I is not pointing to this. Definitely not pointing to this. You know, if you do it, you find out what it's pointing to, but it's not pointing to this. So that's my advice about practice. Yeah. Okay, pass the microphone back.
So my question is just a follow-up on something you were saying. My question's a follow-up on what you were saying. So if you do fast mantra, do you not necessarily worry about the breath and coordinate with the breath as if you were doing like slow mantra?
Yeah, so my husband recommends a different practice, which is this coordination of breath and mantra. And I'm not going to talk about that because I don't do it personally and because I'm going to get the details wrong if I do. Would you like to unmute yourself and talk about it?
We only have 1 minute left.
Okay.
How about if I post this on our website? And you can go to the Kansas City.
No. Posting on the website is problematic. How about if people who are interested write to Kansas Zen Center and then you will respond?
There you go. I will respond in person.
Okay. All right. Yeah, thank you.
So with the fast mantra, then you don't worry about the
No, you
breath.
don't.
It's
Well,
just kind of an undercurrent.
What happens with fast mantra is you find your natural rhythm. Like maybe every 16 repetitions you'll take a breath or something, but you'll find your natural rhythm to it. And sometimes you can use beads. Nobody here happens to have beads, so we have beads. Great. So you have beads. Usually you have shorter beads, and this is a standard mudra, but instead you do this kind of mudra, and then whatever number of repetitions it is, 16 or 8 or 30, whatever, you'll find your rhythm. You just move a bead, and that really coordinates your whole body. The practice is really coordinated with the body because you keep moving these beads like that. And the story about that is a long time ago. We were trying to be pregnant and we were having a hard time, and Zen Master Sung-san knew about this, and he said, you try this fast mantra, moving beads, and soon get baby. And well, it takes 2 to have a baby, so we didn't, but my doctor was look at me and says, he called his nurse in because he knew I was having trouble. He said, there's a classic ovulating woman. So it did work. So I told my friends, who were trying to get pregnant. I mean, we were all in our 30s. And a couple of them tried it and they all got pregnant. So, I don't know what this does for guys, but anyway. But yeah, but it is kind of a coordination, just like our prostrations. Our prostrations, it's a physical thing. It actually changes your body-mind connection. So this fast mantra with beads, it actually changes your body-mind connection. So whatever that's worth. Let's go a little bit over because we started late. If there's time for one more question. Okay, you got to pass it all the way down there.
You can slide it too.
You slide it and make a really loud noise. Okay.
Okay, since we're on the topic of chanting and mantra, so maybe when I first started chanting, or sometimes after I have a cold or something, I'll have, this thing happen where you're like, especially if you're doing like a long chant, like the 1,000 Eyes and Hands, where it kind of gets stuck in your throat. Your energy is like in your throat. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like,
don't worry about it.
No, I'm just, I'm not, but it's hard to continue sometimes. So can you just talk about bringing your energy down?
Oh, okay.
Lower?
So first of all, if you're chanting, just chant, don't worry where your energy is, okay? Just chant. And your energy will find where it is. If you have laryngitis, don't chant because you'll never get over your laryngitis. But yeah, chanting, just chant, and your energy will find its place. We have these ideas of how things should be, and then they get in the way because then we try to, fix things, but it doesn't need to be fixed. If your energy is up here, when we're sitting, if your energy up here, that's problematic, and then you know, that's why we have this mudra, and that's why we place this mudra here. We just focus our attention on this, then our energy naturally drops down. But if you're chanting, you know, it's just your body working itself out. Yeah, so thank you. Right. Okay, so time for announcements, so let's turn off.